Hello guys, welcome to the first episode of Build to Scale e-commerce show by AdKings Agency. It's a cool new stuff for us and I'm really super excited to announce the show launch publicly. And in this show, we'll be talking about mainly three things. One of the things will be methods and secrets that create a real long-lasting eight-figure e-commerce brands. Another thing will be about doing interviews with people who are experts at their own fields, who have their own experiences, advices, failures, and interesting stories to share about where e-commerce businesses grow. And the last third thing will be, we will be keeping you up to date on what's working with the e-commerce field right now for marketing tricks, business development strategies. And as today is the first show, my partner and the guest show will be Justinas Gecevicius. And he's a co-founder of AdKings Agency. He's really a fanatic of numbers, planning. And if I would have to find his super skill, it would be ability to dive deep into any topic, find solutions even in the toughest situations. And today, just kind of according to what he's doing with an AdKings Agency, we'll be talking about what is the difference between, let's say, 5, 6, 7-figure stores, what are just basically just barely scraping by versus the ones that are having a chance to hit 8 figures, or even the ones already at 8 figures mark. And Justin's certainly the best person to talk about this, because if you think about him, he's responsible for evaluating each new lead that comes within our agency. This means each week he's having calls with wide range of businesses, from the ones that are making zero income to the ones making 20, 30K, all the way to 40 million. And I think 2 weeks back, he exactly had a few calls with these big brands. So he is a very good person to tell you what are actually the difference between smaller e-commerce stores and the ones that are super successful. Yeah. So let's roll. Justin, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yep. So full name is Justinas, Justinas in a way, like in Lithuanian, but I prefer, I guess, Justin. It's a little bit easier as well while communicating with anyone else. So it's really about myself. So together with Darius, we co-founded AdKings Agency. I'm not really sure, maybe if you want, I can later, introduce other things, but generally I'm responsible in AdKings Agency. There's for the internal, some of the operations and so on, but usually for clients, I'm always saying, since I'm usually the first person that they talk with, so I'm doing all the sales calls and so on. So I'm evaluating possible partnerships with the new clients. So it starts with the calls, then the evaluation, then up to onboarding and then our performance team, the whole team is taken over the account and so on. But usually I say, I'm responsible for onboarding and sales, and that I'm talking with the clients. But later I'm responsible, so both parties, so our team and a client would be as happy as possible, the performance would be as best as possible as well. Because sometimes, clients are not satisfied, so I'm looking for, is it about a team or something else? I'm trying to maintain a good relationship between two parties, or if a team is not happy, maybe a client is not providing something or whatever. So I'm trying to negotiate or, get into discussion and try to figure out the processes or something. How could we improve the communication, or actually better and faster, finding out of the solutions and whatever. So I'm kind of negotiating between two sides, so both sides would be happy and would reach the best possible results in a way.
Okay, that sounds really cool. I think audience certainly appreciates you telling a bit more about how we are dividing things within agency. And in your experience up to this date, maybe you have certain fields that you feel the most passionate about when working with clients, whatever it's sales or something else.
Yeah, I guess one thing is generally, I guess that's this whole position suits me pretty well. Some years I've discovered that I really enjoyed business development and managing a few things at the same time. So having people who are, taking over, I'm usually quite good with figuring out the stuff, how it needs to happen, even though if I haven't done it before or whatever, I kind of have quite a clear vision and the outcomes that we actually need to have it. And stress usually doesn't come to me that easily. I'm quite a, stress resilient in a way. So for me, this position is pretty good. And I think I'm passionate mostly about, business development and actually being able to manage the processes and resources in order to achieve something incredible together with the clients or with the team. So this, I would say, the business development field, in a way, I would say it's something that I'm passionate about. Being able to pull some, strings from the operational point of view, like challenging the mindset and whatever of the clients or our team. So sometimes I'm joking that sometimes I'm having like a longer calls with the clients or like possible clients in a way, just because I'm interested in their business overall, how things are going. I'm just not only just evaluating, for a client, but I'm just generally interested in how they're building the business, what's behind, what's the process, what was your backstory, what they're doing right now. I'm sharing, my own perspective. Maybe I've seen someone in the market, maybe I've worked with someone, and I'm just, trying to figure it out what you're doing and so on. Because even though every business is unique in some perspective, there are certain, bases that you need to cover, team, processes, performance and the rest of the stuff. So this is, I would say it's kind of a operations and a business development in a way, and a business model to some perspective. So I'm sometimes just having a longer call. Sometimes calls last, it should be around 40 minutes up to an hour in a best case scenario, but sometimes it could be 1.5 hours, sometimes even have almost 2 hours, where we just chatting about the business. And I'm just sharing my own perspective, asking like new things about how they're planning to do new product launches. I'm just talking about the landing page, what they should highlight or whatever. So I'm just generally interested in businesses and how they're built, the structures and the things behind.
Yeah, and this is exactly the reason why, I think Justin is the best person to talk about these things, because he has so much contact with all this variety of different stores, and he knows the back end of the businesses, what we are doing, how we are hiring people, what are the structures, etc. And I guess let's roll into the meat of this show and this topic. And, so Justin, how do you determine the potential of, let's say, a new client comes, maybe a new lead for us comes, right? You have a call with them. What are kind of the questions you're asking to determine, what are key criteria to determine the potential of a new lead, whatever we can grow for fast, whatever, we have potential to hit 8 figures, what are kind of the things you're looking for?
Yeah, there are several questions. Let me actually open up some of the things, so not to, expand too much. But there are several questions which I thought from the very beginning that are important. And, from every call, I just see a certain pattern. And in the end, we have some quality. I would, divide things in, in some qualitative, some, let's say, numbers or like things behind the business, and then numerical. And then as well, I would say subjective opinion and the mindset. So kind of a mindset, qualitative and quantitative, let's say, questions. I would say there are like 3, groups of questions. And what I'm trying, sometimes it's not about a question, it's about a communication and the other stuff. I'm just interested as well, because we don't work with everyone. We are pretty picky because we just want to maintain a long-term relationship with our partners, not just the clients, not as just a service vendor or provider. We want to be partners, and usually we invest quite a lot of time at the very beginning and onwards from the very different perspectives. Therefore, we just want to have a really good partners, so we just don't want to work with anyone. So there are several things that I'm always asking. So some of the questions they answer during, applying to the call, so I can do my own research and look into, how much they're expanded and so on. Sometimes it's just, a longer answer is actually just says a lot about a client, that they invested time and they're interested and they're open to share what they've been doing, what they've been successful, what they're struggling with. So they're more aware of the business and they're more interested in, finding the right partner. instead of just others are just writing like, in just a few words. But anyways, so there are some quantitative, let's say, questions which are around all the numbers and specific things. So it's I'm asking about a average order value, lifetime value, profit margins that they have, possibly, as well as just a little bit of what are operational costs in case, because sometimes profit margins don't tell the full picture. If your cost of goods sold are, I don't know, let's say 20%, but all the other variable costs, let's say, I don't know, fulfillment costs, customer support if you're doing per order, some kind of shipping if you're doing like free shipping for a client, Shopify fees, payment fees, and so on, it can add up to extra 10 or 15%. And in the end, it's not a margin of, just your cost is not just 20%. You add up all the variable costs, it's already 35% or something. That's quite a lot. Let's say it can go further or something. Just a matter of what are your COGS. So these are, the most, I would say, those numbers are more, it gives me quite a bit understanding about a business, whether their average order value is just $30 or is, 100 or 120. And their COGS is, around the same or even, let's say, bigger with a higher AOE. We still have quite a big room actually to play around. Because sometimes, just taking the customer, depending on the area where you're operating, whether it's, supplements, cosmetics, whatever, sometimes having AOE higher than AOE, lower, usually it's around the same marketing cost that it will be just to attract the customer. So it's just better to have a higher AOV. Of course, conversion rates as well I'm interested in, and so on. Then I'm going more to qualitative, which are in relates to quantitative as well, numbers. What channel they're using. Is it like one or a few channels? How much they're diversified by as a business? Because that shows how long they've been in a business, how they're successful with different channels. Maybe I'll ask follow-up questions and so on. But generally, how much they're diversified as a business. So, losing one channel, how much it will be, a risk for a business overall. Then we just go, what they're struggling for, what usually they write a question why they answer, why they want actually to work with us. But we just try, there's there are like different methodologies with them. Try to really grasp it. What you're struggling for is like sales. I'm struggling. I want more sales. So I'm trying to understand what's the the core issue that they're figuring out. There's like a method 5 whys where you go to the root cause. Is it maybe about a cost of goods sold? Maybe there's no creatives or whatever. Question by question, I just doing my homework. I just try to within half an hour. Usually have quite a good understanding of the client. So yeah, whether they have what's their team behind? Is it just one founder? How many people are fully employed? Are they working with freelancers and so on? Are they fulfilling? Can they sell worldwide? Where are they selling right now? For instance, do they have any specific goals for this year, for quarters, for upcoming 3 years? Just gives us as well a better understanding how experienced they are as an owner. Do they have a clear picture or not? If they haven't really revealed yet, I usually will ask if they're working with Facebook and Instagram. It's or any other acquisition channels, how much you're spending per month, maybe what are the profitability, ROAS or whatever. Not really that much, not that often asking about ROAS profitability. I think if they're talking, I usually get it from the revenues that they're making per month and so on. So this is one more about a quantitative numbers, revenues per month in the last 3 months, how they've been growing and so on. About a team. From the team, it goes back to do they have in-house, can they make any changes? Let's see if we see that we need changes on the website or whatever. Do they have in-house, or we should take over, or they work with influencer for quite a long time, what they've been doing with the business, on the website, conversion rate optimization or whatever, they've done anything. Usually conversion rate overall says for me quite a lot already, if they have done or not. Do they have a creative team in house? I don't know. They work with editors. Do they have any creative, database or whatever? Can they get it if it's needed? Because creative plays a huge role in profitability. So, yeah, just question by question. It just go back to what it is. So it is about the numbers. It is about their mindset in a way of where they see it's going, what they've been doing before, and as well about a team. Do they have people behind? If they see we want to scale, from $500,000 per year to 3 million or 5 million right away, and they don't have operations and a team behind, it's really right away like a red flag. Is it like you kind of have seen maybe some videos where they scaling successes overnight or whatever? It doesn't happen like that. So yeah, just trying to understand where they at. Are we on the same page and so on? But yeah, usually all those questions are around that, and that gives me a really good picture where they are.
Okay, and let's see, maybe you could give like clearer understanding to a listener.
All right. Anyways.
Yeah, there was a small lag here. Maybe you could give a clearer understanding to, let's say, a listener about maybe some sort of specific metrics that you should be aiming for, what you are seeing, let's say, successful e-commerce stores hitting from conversion rate perspective, average order values, what are like general trends that like a smaller e-commerce store should be aiming for them to be able to scale up?
Maybe let's put in some kind of a more specific case, because it can be kind of a very broad question. So a few very specific metrics. I would identify a few of those, not too many, because it depends. So as a business, you need to have good profit margins. That's important. I would say your cost of goods sold should be somewhere, let's say, I know some people have, $10-15, that it's quite good, like it's really good. But I would say a good profit margin, so COGS should be up to 30%. We would be looking even to smaller, but if you're going over 30%, there is a risk that you won't be as profitable from one channel if you'll be scaling, depending on the product as well, and the average order value. But you're having more risk, so possibly you will need to be more diversified as a business as well. So profit margins is definitely a thing. Creatives, it's not a kind of specific metric, but creatives, if you don't have a database or if you cannot get it, then you're pretty new. Of course, we can support you with that. We do have partners, we do have editors and so on. But if we're launching something new, it will take some extra weeks to get the creatives, and as well it will be additional costs of getting people to do the creatives. Let's say either it will be influencers or our partners who can do an actual video and so on. We do the edit, it's included in the service, but the getting extra footage, it's another thing. So depending how much money you can invest at this current time. But creatives, it's important. You need to have a continuous process of getting creatives at least every few weeks, or if you're smaller, at least every month, like you need creatives and so on. Then it goes to conversion rate as well. If you're around 1%, it can be challenging. If you have even, some things are related. Let's say if you have quite a high average order value over $100 over $100 or even more, going close to 200 or even more, and having 1% of conversion rate, possibly it can be still okay. You can be still profitable if your cost of goods also on the lower side as well. You can be profitable because your average order value is pretty big. However, if your conversion rate is actually 1% and your average order value is about $30 or $40, it can be pretty challenging. Your operational profit can be squeezing quite a lot, so that can be challenging. Anything else? Yeah, I would say mindset overall. Is it your first business, or how do you foresee the next steps and so on? Are you ready to do the changes? I would say the main thing that determines whether you're successful or not, how adaptable you are. because what is good with e-commerce, your decisions can be based on data. So, okay, we spend money on ads, we get the data, and then we do decisions. So usually what happens is that clients, let's take a smaller business. Let's say they're spending $20,000 per month, $30K per month or something, and they want to up their game. So they've been always in this position, and we are about to scale them. So if we increase the ad spend to, let's say that was a business of 20K per month, and we increase the ad spend to 40, 60K per month, we'll see that operations and some things will start crashing. Possibly we'll be getting a good numbers from Facebook. If there's if the numbers aren't good, possibly the issue is about the creatives and similar things, or actually with the landing page. So we can do the creatives possibly relatively fast with some of the edits and so on. So we can improve that. But if people are converting, so that's about a website or a business model, which is not a business model but the offer. So how fast you can adapt and change the offer or change the website and so on, we can help you, but that's additional resources and time. So how you are adaptable overall, you need to understand that this is the game for an e-commerce. You need to be adaptable. So what's your opinion on that? If we run, are you okay with changing stuff, and how fast you can be changing the price of shipping or something? We do a lot of different calculations as well to do some predictable models and so. But I would say these are the main things that I would be looking at, and these would be the numbers that I would be looking into. So conversion rates, depending on the industry, 1% could be okay. Of course, it could be better, but our clients have from 3 to 6, even sometimes 8% conversion rate. So the average it would be like between 3 to 4, I would say, something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like when I'm right now thinking, about the most successful clients that are, scaling really fast. In some cases, going from like very small stores making 100K towards $1 billion a month, just very rapidly. What we are open up is they're open to changing not just marketing, etc., but the business processes. For example, finding another supplier, fulfillment house, reordering products directly to US fulfillment houses. All these small things where you can optimize that cost. But if we see like small, it's a discrepancy. For example, we see a smaller store, not sending, basically shipping costs are a bit too high. And even $1 in shipping costs could mean a huge difference in the final profit you are making. So this is more about that adaptability, and I'm seeing them constantly be open to changing things, whether it's in business, in branding, in even the product line sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, as there was quite a recent case that we had, and I think, sometimes it's not even external things that you need to do. Sometimes are just the things like internally, well, you evaluate what our competitors doing and whatever. So for instance, shipping costs. Do you include those as a free shipping, or is it, clients that they pay for shipping? And, depending on the number of sales, for example, if you're doing, let's say, I don't know, 10,000 orders per month or something, and, you pay for, every, shipping, I don't know, $2 or something, that's $20,000 of your cost. If a client, you play around of what is the threshold for free shipping, of course, but sometimes the threshold can be pretty high. And if, let's say, for instance, a client have an average order value of ours about $140, $150, and they've been, from pretty much over, for all the orders, I think for all the orders, they have free shipping. But their average order value was pretty high, so it was fine. However, of course, some people just buy one item. It is about $80, $90 or something, but still their shipping was about $6, $7. And most of their competitors were actually their free shipping, whether it was from $150 or $200 only, meaning that they usually, weren't really losing money on the shipping costs. While changing, the increasing the threshold, actually, we did then, like, we need to still to do analysis, pretty recent change, but anyways, it seems that average order value actually increased by $10 or $15. We need to do more in-depth analysis, whether it was because specifically of that or something else. But anyways, now we switched to the other shipping provider where, our client costs went from $6 to $3. And with for smaller orders, we're still charging, $3 for shipping. When the client is buying for $120 and you're just, paying $3 for shipping, it's nothing. Possibly it won't affect your, conversion, rates at any point. Of course, my subjective opinion, but we can test that. But, subjectively, if you're paying $120, having additional, dollar or two on top, it's, nothing for you. But for a business, there's 1,000 orders, a few thousand orders per month. It just adds up to like $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 of your cost, and you come out optimize those small things, right away, or just switch the order or just represent the order a little bit different way, whether it's discounted product or a BOGO, buy one get one free, and so on. It's sometimes it's just small things internally that can be switching right away like that, and it's a matter of your mindset.
And actually, that's the funny part, I guess, the fun part, how we are working compared to like majority agencies. Agencies often just work, a specific channel and, that's it. But very fun thing, and basically why we kind of excel at what we do is because we take a full 360 look at business, not just from marketing perspective, but often, just business development itself. Because just optimizing these small nuances, it's exactly what could double or triple your profit. And,
a last comment on that. But that's, I think that's our mindset and in a way how we are building our business and so on. But if like, for me, it was quite an interesting, read, a blitzscaling book by LinkedIn's one of the founders. I don't remember the name, but blitzscaling it's a pretty good book. And it's mainly talking about, how to blitzscale your business. But what you're talking about, you're actually taking the cases of who actually grew. So let's say Google, Facebook, they were talking about covering PayPal, LinkedIn, and so on. Most of those are like, SaaS companies and so on, but Amazon and so on. But generally what you're talking about a business model. Just a small change in the business model, the offer and whatever, it can produce a rapid growth for your business. It's not that much about a marketing, some kind of initiative or so on. I'm always saying marketing is just a tool that you're using to attract customers and so on. But it doesn't matter what type of, marketing message you will have if a client is not really interested in a business model, like the offer that you have for him, he will never buy from you. So it's I would say that, it is about marketing and all the procedures, but if you look more in depth, it's more about a business model and the offer that you have, whether you suit the customer needs or not. And the book exactly talks about it.
Okay, so what are, let's say, the exact differences you notice, how like smaller stores, let's say 6-7 figure stores operate, how they do, what type of things they do compared to like super successful 8-figure stores? Because usually what I'm seeing, there are like always trends and, a success leaves clues. So I think, the ones that are stuck at 6-7 figures are not simply doing something that the ones that get to the 8 figures are doing. So what could be these things from your experience?
I would say everything goes to those main questions that you're asking as well. It is your profit margin. It's like always bigger businesses. Either you need to have a huge scale as well. So let's say if you look to retailers and so on, they usually need a huge scale and they have quite a low profit margins. Therefore, they need a huge scale and to diversify their business and so on. But you need money to invest back in a business. Therefore, you need your COGS to be at the lower side. It will be pretty hard for 40 or 50% profit margin to be successful right away. You need to back up the operations and a few channels at least, really good offer, a good average order value and so on. And it's not always like this. So for sure, profit margin, cost of goods sold, mindset. That's why I was always saying, I'm trying to figure it out as well, the mindset of the customer, because if I see, I think how do sometimes everything is sticking. You have a good offer. Let's say it seems like a good a product that you can have very different sales angles and so on. The profit margin is good. All the rest of the things are you have creatives and so on and so on. It seems like you just take it and do it and scale it. But sometimes it's just about a mindset. If we had some cases where we thought it's like really good client and so on, but they're really slow with the communication. They're really risk averse. It's not about risk averse. It's more like just if that's not a first business that you're running, or if you had a few e-commerce businesses before, usually try to understand what's the game overall, and what type of things you need to do in order to outcompete other players in the market. So mindset is really something. You really understand that you need to adapt and how fast you need to adapt, and roll out something else to increase your average order value, or roll out something in a back end to increase your lifetime value of the customer, the cross sells and upsells and so on. So how you're adaptable? Are we on the same page now? Because there will be a case that will need to make a decision, especially while scaling up, that you haven't done those decisions before. So what's your opinion about it? Mindset, those numbers. And I would say, product and offer in a way. So of course, how scalable is the product, how many sales angles we can have and so on. Because to the mindset that goes back, are you okay with the new operations, getting new creatives, conversion rate optimization, how fast you can, take it and actually optimize it and then scale it up and so on to maintain your profitability and so on. So between smaller ones, usually the issue is if you don't have the right mindset. Of course, with the smaller ones, it's about it, the cash and so on. Therefore, they're very risk averse, not doing one or another. I just want to scale up, Facebook has to start, and then I'll be investing in something else as well. But initially, you need to understand with the scaling up, possibly your, return on investment, you'll be dropping to some point, but you'll be making more cash. Of course, you need to know the numbers and etc. But are you okay with that? Because not all the people are. They try to imagine something that it will be always 5 ROAS. It doesn't matter if I'm making 30, 40K or if I'm making 300K or something. Depends, of course. The numbers for some people it can be at the 300, 500K per month. 4 or 5 times your ad spend. It could be possible, but you should have good operations and numbers and things working. So just it goes back to those simple things, and it's always about a mindset. So if you're smaller and if you're okay, you trust in us and so on. I'm not only talking that about us, but generally trust in the partner that you select, because maybe from the mindset it goes back as well. You need to give someone the work and free up your hands to start working on the business, not to do all the operational stuff, because that's usually what's stopping you from growth. Because if you're doing the ads yourself, you're doing the hiring, you're talking with the freelancers, with the manufacturer, you're looking for product improvements and whatever, you're in control in all the places. Your focus is diversified, like divided by 5 to 10 places. So, so what you're in the end doing. So you need to find a good partner and actually, or just, test the people, trust in them, give them the, the work that you've been doing, and leave them with that, work and so on. And just go back to the business optimization, hiring people, optimizing operations and so on. And I would say good businesses, I'm really, amazed with the businesses who are, sometimes smaller or, the mid-sized businesses, but they do understand, you do your own job, I do my own job, we check up on the, KPIs and the goal that we have. But, I'm hiring you because you will do, the work for us. And sometimes people just want to control you, which is, why you're even hiring us. So yeah, so the bigger business, I would say, it's about a margin. It's about understanding your own numbers. You have a clear vision. You do understand that you need sometimes invest a little bit more in the business to try some new thing. Let's say a creatives or optimization or more push on the emails, the back end of the business or something. And you're okay because usually you do investment at the very beginning. It's always with our business as well. We invest firstly to hire a person, and then later within a few months we give him more and more work with the new clients and so on. But we do it investment, and then it pays off for us in within a certain time period. But you should be okay with those risks, and yeah, trusting other people, because if you're an 8-figure business, even a 7-figure business, 5 million or something, you won't be able to do everything on your own. So you need to find good people and leave them with your own things. So everything goes to, once the numbers are covered, everything is about making decisions and the mindset, being able to control the business, not to be in control by the business.
Yeah, that's very interesting, thing that you kind of pointed out. And everything, once again, leads back to the mindset, right? Because in my experience also, to get to 7 figures, you can often do it, on yourself. It's not very complicated. You do not need a huge team. But to go from 7 to 8 figures and even go higher than that, what you have to do is, imagine yourself as a piece of iron where you have to reforge yourself into something new. Basically, forget everything that you learned getting to this point, but learn, to work for other people. I'm not talking just marketing. You should have people who are responsible for operations, somebody who's responsible for fulfillment, product development, etc. And all these things is what, stacks up and allows you to scale further, because complexity increases with scale. And, Justin was kind of talking about it. And Justin, how would you, let's say, recommend people to develop the right mindset? Maybe you have some resources to give them as an advice or something?
It's hard to say, the mindset, it's not as easily, I guess, developed. It is about just reading, listen to people. Yeah, I like listening to, CEOs talking. I'm generally just listening to the books. Mostly I'm listening to the books. I'm now reading a little bit sometimes. Traction is a good book, which we've been using as well and trying to implement some stuff. Blitzscaling. I haven't finished, but I've read 50 or 60% Ray Dalio principles that talks about just generally how do you manage your business and what is important. And yeah, what else? There is Scale Up as well. It is as well about the structures and how the business should operate at a different scale. But yeah, I would say I remember some years ago when people, are talking about gurus, let's see, Tony Robinson. I remember some local people being in as well, saying you need to do the meditation, you need to do the goal planning, you need to organize your, finances and all the similar affirmations and the similar things, sports, etc. So, 5, good people are talking who have achieved things in your life. It doesn't matter that you're, just, kind of gurus and coaches and speakers. 5 to 10 people are seeing same stuff. So, why not to do that? Why they haven't, discussed together that, well, let's for this year, we'll be talking about this topic and that's it. So, if all the people are talking about it, most likely it is important and you should pay attention to that. You're not at reinventing the wheel or whatever. So yeah, I would say books and just listening to people and doing some small tests or whatever. At least with the smaller businesses, it's harder to, give out some operations or, investment or whatever. But you need to understand where you're at, in which stage of the business, and what are decisions that you need to make. Because in a different stage, you have a different decisions to do. And sometimes you just need to reinvent everything at a different stage of the business. Because 8-figure businesses don't operate as 7-figure businesses, or, 7-figure businesses don't operate as 6-figure businesses and similar. So you need to be aware where you are.
Yeah, absolutely true. And as we're in quite lucky position to see a lot of different businesses grow and scale with our help, etc. We are often seeing different shifts happening within their businesses. And what are you could most likely identify a few common struggles that businesses growing from 6-7 figures into 8 figures are consistently facing, right? Could you maybe point some of them out and maybe give some suggestions how our listeners could, help to prepare them for that and maybe even overcome them?
Okay, so from 7 to 8, I guess there are a few things. Yeah, as I said in the last kind of a question, you need to understand that you will need to reinvent your model, not a model, maybe some structures in the business, going from 7 to 8. Meaning that you'll need to do things differently. So you need to be aware of that, and you need to be okay with that. And you need to be okay that nothing will be perfect. Maybe, at 7 figures, you reach your, everything is optimized, everything, your dashboards are working and all the things you have with the people, performance is going, but, you want to grow further by 30, 40, 50% or whatever. Things will start crashing, and you need to be aware that it is fine. You go through that phase, and then you once again optimize the stuff at 8 figures. So yeah, it goes back to the mindset, and in different stages, companies operating differently. That's one thing. The other thing, I guess, Traction is a good book about talking about scorecards and so on. I think as an 8-figure business, you don't need to be involved, let's say, as a CEO or some heads of your business. You don't need to be so much involved in the operations overall. They need to be strategizing the things, and they need to have reliable partners who are about to do the operational stuff and actually reach those numbers. But you need to be having those dashboards or scorecards where you come in, by every few days or bi-weekly or whatever. And you identify, okay, ROAS is not as good. These channels are not performing good together, and so on. It's more about bigger decisions in a way, and some other people need to, do the operations. You need to trust in people, so you need to have a good, reliable partners. Right, yeah, being able to track the processes. So you have KPIs, kind of dashboards and so on, it's called scorecards, Traction talks about it. Yeah, and from the marketing, let's say, perspective and so on, I think you need to be diversified. You could scale with one channel and so on if you have good margins and so on. Let's say Facebook could be a thing for you to scale up. However, at some point, you don't want to put all the eggs in one basket in case anything happens. You don't want just to rely on one channel. So you definitely need to diversify your business. Maybe it won't be as profitable from the very beginning or whatever, but other channels need to be supporting your business in some kind of way. So let's say YouTube AdWords, email should be very strong at this point because you're getting quite a big traction overall. At that point, is conversion rate optimization definitely a thing that you should be doing with testing landing pages, optimizing the doing A/B tests on the product pages, collection pages, and so on. Definitely, and all those things need to have a structure. You talk about it, then you decide there's a sprint or a few week project. Then you know the outcome that you're trying to reach. Then you leave for the people that execute that. You monitor what's happening, but generally it's kind of a circle. You decide, you do the stuff, you check up on. Kind of a scrum and sprints could be a good thing, but and then you go back and see whether it was done or not, and then adapt. So you should have routines and similar things in place because. You won't be able to do the operational stuff other people need to do, and you just need the structures to follow that. So, constant tests and the conversions, Facebook, creatives, other stuff, and then having tools which will be able to track the funnel numbers.
Yeah. So once again, we are getting back to the same topic about simplifying everything, tracking everything with what is called scorecard. It's just, maybe 10, 15 core KPIs that kind of give you a good understanding on where your business are, whatever things are being done, orders are shipped, what kind of revenue you're pulling, ad spend was, as a CEO at a higher level, you do not need to worry about all the smaller nuances. You need to have like some sort of simple way to get the scope of the business, what's happening here, not just overcomplicating it yourself. And once again, what Justin mentioned, a way for your business to run, whatever it's sprint, scrum, etc. It has to have some sort of system there. So yeah, maybe Justinas has any last ideas and questions to add, to this topic, just to finish this show.
Yeah, just saying, I'm just looking to a few things. Maybe it would be, maybe we can, just sum it up in a way. A few things that I guess, if we look, 6, 7, and 8 figure businesses, if we, take 100%, most like, it will be 15 to, 10% that will be at 8 figures. That will be somewhere, about a, 40, 30%, 30% about a, 7 figures. And the rest of the people, the majority, 50 to 60% will be about 6 figures. So I think for the majority, you need, we should talk a little bit more, about it. So maybe a few things that I would, if I would be, an e-commerce owner, and we always think, from that perspective, what if we would be, in our client's shoes, what we would be doing, it's just because if our clients are growing, we are growing together. So we do have a pricing model as well. We are attached to the revenues or some similar things. So if client is happy, we are happy as well. So we are as well interested in putting extra efforts in the new solutions or improvements, because it will help our client to grow as well. And it is could be outside of Facebook or whatever. Sometimes it is about a business model and offers. But if I would be starting as an e-commerce owner, I think to a certain extent you need to reach a certain threshold of revenues to find a market fit. Therefore, we're not really talking that much with the smaller e-commerce owners, which are like really small, like 10, 20K, sometimes even 30. That's why we're usually looking to someone who's, doing 30, 50K per month in the last month recurring revenues in the last 3 months. That just, shows us that there is a market fit. Possibly they're established as a brand already. Maybe they are in Amazon. They want to move out of it and actually diversify their business. But generally, it's you need to have those recurring revenues, because to some extent you need to have sales in order to invest and move on somewhere else. So and at that point you still have a product cost, you have some operational costs and so on. So you don't have a lot of cash actually to do big changes if you don't have any other business or whatever, more investments or something. So you definitely need to think of how to reach this threshold and understand whether you have a market fit or whatever, and then continue improving and scaling up. But you need to be aware of your cost of goods sold, important things, what's your average order values and so on. Maybe if you're smaller, if you're spending, 5, 10K per month, let's say 5K per month, think of how to diversify right away, how to add up your emails, which can, give you 10, 15, 20% right away. But, you'll have more cash in your hand in order to invest and, acquire more customers. So I think definitely you need to always think about a minimal threshold in order to move on and start investing somewhere else. So it's really important to have a sales coming in, because with no sales, I'm always saying, why we're not taking that we don't want to work with the clients. It's more about possibly they won't afford us, and it's not about affording, but they don't have the cash to invest because they just have 20, 30K per month. You don't have a lot of cash. You need to pay yourself, maybe some other people, and so on. So you don't have a lot of cash to invest and do, every small error will impact a lot on your business. So that's, we just don't want to, I always want to set the right expectations. I don't want to overpromise something. We're not magicians or something. We are in the same market as, in the same boat as any other, competitors in the e-commerce space. So you need cash to do, to make some tests and improve your business. If you don't, then, you need to do something. But, if you're doing your own stuff and you're involved in the operations, possibly you will be involved in the operations 30K, or below 30K. So we need to go with those operations being involved to like 30 to 50K, and then start thinking of, whom to talk with. Because you need to free up your hands, because possibly you're getting occupied by customer service, hires, managing the finances, the business, and so on. And you're not focused on growing the business now. So you need to reach the threshold. And when you're smaller, just one thing what I want to mention as well, if you don't have the knowledge, and if you're small, you want to outsource someone. So have in mind that when you do on your own, possibly you would be paying less, or you just don't include as your work as a cost for your business. You're the owner, you usually don't think you're a cost for a business. But once you start outsourcing agency or whatever, you start getting costs because you're outsourcing others. Therefore, when you're smaller, you cannot afford that. So therefore, you need to reach that threshold. So that's why I'm saying, if you're not skilled, you need to hire someone who is skilled. And the more skilled they are, the more you'll be paying as well. So you need to have a good business. As again, at the very beginning, it's a certain investment for X amount of time in order, to ramp up your growth of the business. So at the very beginning, maybe you invest a little bit more money, especially if you're smaller for us or for anyone else, to build up all the stuff within a month, 2, 3, or 4. And you will be investing, don't forget, you'll be investing for services, marketing, product, maybe some of the other operations and so on. And in the end, possibly you don't have a lot of profit back in a business, and it's bad. Because if there's any problem will occur, possibly it will, you won't have cash, to do any other, decisions for pay or service providers or whatever. So these are the expectations, it's important to set and be aware of that. So, because as I said, we always invest as well. You hire new people in a team, usually they start learning. So usually we start covering the costs within, let's say, 3 months or something. Because you want to invest in a good talent at the very beginning, so later they can ramp up your business in a shorter term, 4 to 5 months in the longer term. But it's important to understand that you need to reach the certain threshold and then move on as a business owner. Then you start replacing yourself from the operations to actual business management, and so on. So I think it's very important to understand.
Cool. So I think we are done. Thank you, Justinas, for such a long talk with a lot of details. And I think it certainly will be a good, helpful, guidance for a lot of business owners to understand, that you have to actually focus on the mindset. And it's kind of the most important thing, where you have to kind of like learn to reforge yourself. Every, each figure increase, most likely each figure incremental increase, you have to like learn new skills, basically, how you operate the business, create new systems. And I think it's super valuable for a lot of people. And guys, if you want to learn and listen to more content like this, certainly keep in touch, subscribe, join our group, etc. And just overall enjoy it and wait for like the second show of AdKings, Build to Scale e-commerce show. So yeah, thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Yeah, cheers for having me.